This editor works very much kind of like play at this point, where I can kind of stretch out my vertebra, use the mouse wheel to kind of inflate, deflate parts. We have quite a number of creature parts that basically have functional meaning in the game to determine things like how fast your creature is, what its life cycle is, what it eats. As I start putting parts on my creature, it kind of slowly starts coming to life. I only have certain parts unlocked right now. Now, we also want the players to be very imaginative, so we try to put, very few limitations on kind of what they do. So if I decide, I want to have a creature with 2 mouths down here, 1 eye in the middle, 7 legs, 5 tentacles, whatever, we don't disallow any of that. In fact, we're kind of counting on the players to do just really weird, experimental things. In doing this, we kind of had to teach the computer a lot of the things that we used to have to do as game designers. We used to be our artists would sit there and spend a lot of time building a model like this, but instead we taught the computer to build the magic very quickly. When it came time to paint it, a texture artist would sit there, and I'm like, this has been 3 or 4 days painting the thing. And here, one click, it actually makes the texture look. So everything I encounter, all the creatures and everything, are basically going to be coming out of editors like this. When a player makes something in an editor like that, it not only ends up populating the world, but also ends up being redistributed to all the other players. If we pull back to the space view here, okay, so we've just gone to a couple of stars here. Now, one thing you want to be doing at this level of the game also is trying to contact intelligent life. As we move the mouse around, we're actually hearing the radio telescope return from that star, and so you're actually coming to the setting game here. And when we're actually, so this one will actually be emitting radio shadow from. So that means that there's some intelligent rays coming around that star. So as we fly over there, we can actually encounter an alien species which was created by another player. This is the home world. They want to talk to us. We can kind of. And there's a whole thing about basically meetings anyway, so we can end up being trading partners, allies. They have colonies, home worlds. Also, as players are kind of moving around this galaxy, we want them to encounter all the things that they might see in Hubble images. We have things like black holes, protoplanetary disks. Again, I wanted to convey to players in a kind of a caricature, the layout of the galaxy, the type of things they might find, the relative scales. Most people have no idea what the difference between like a planetary nebula and an emissive nebula is. They're tremendously different in size and totally different in kind of what they are, but most people just have no concept of that. They see these pretty Hubble pictures, but there's no reference point for how to compare them and whether, how common are they in the galaxy. We actually have here really simulated an entire galaxy. As I pull back here, you get a sense of the scope. We really have millions and millions of totally unique worlds here. Every world you go here will be unique. Every creature you see will be unique. Every planet, everything. Eventually, we send the player on this kind of epic quest toward the center of this galaxy. It'll take quite a while to get there. And we've got a lot of things kind of hidden along the way. Let me give you a sense of. Yeah, if you go to just the right spot in the galaxy, and this is hard to find, it's kind of way out on the spiral arm, and you zoom into this one star. But basically, so I don't know how I set the player to find this, but if they go to just the right spot, somebody's eventually going to find Earth or our system actually here. You go in, and we have the real terrain maps for these planets, and so if you want to go in here and now practice terraforming Mars, what we might want to do, we have that as well. So really, I want players to kind of understand, the scope of the galaxy, kind of what life's position in it is, how all these things relate in a very fun, playful way, but for the most part, undirected, except through the goal structures of the game. But at the same time, they can be extremely creative with it, in how they approach it and what they do. So that's pretty much, I'll stop the demo there so we can do some Q&A stuff. And I'll stand up for that. And we can turn the volume down on this one. Questions?
Who's first up for questions? Oh, I just had to ask, if you go to Mars and terraform it, then do other players encounter your newly terraformed Mars?
We're pollinating things that the players make, like Mars and stuff like that. It's basically what we're calling a massively single-player game, because every player is actually playing in a copy of their own galaxy, and we're using other players' content to fill that. Now, if you build like your aliens and you build a homeworld or some nice planets, and I encounter those planets, I can go blow them up, but they're not destroying your originals. What it did is it pulled down a copy of what you did, brought it to my planet, or to my galaxy, and now I'm playing with a copy. It'll report back to you. We also have this thing called the browser. So for every piece of content that you encounter in the game, we have cards, and these cards actually show like every creature you've seen, every planet you've gone to, etc., along with who made it. So you can basically click on one of these things, look at this thing this person's made. You can actually contact that person and leave, kind of notes like, "Oh, I love the starship you made." And every one of these cards becomes kind of a running bulletin board. You're basically a community discussion thread between the players. You can also subscribe to themes, so people can tag these assets as well. I could tag, Star Trek on the ones that look like Star Trek things, or Wizard of Oz, or whatever I want, or Care Bears. And somebody else can go search for Care Bears and find all the things, assets that are like, Care Bear-like. Make a Spore cast I can subscribe to it. So you can actually pick a theme when you play the game, but I want to play the whole game with a Christmas theme. It's Santa Claus, UFOs, flying around, stuff like that.
Next question.
So have you looked at allowing other people to get these creations out into other worlds? I mean, some of the meshes that you're showing there and the editing you're doing are incredible.
Yeah, it's actually, we found even with our artists now, they're starting to use these editors to make little models for other purposes. One of the first things we did for, test reasons initially, what turned out to be really useful is that from our editors, we have a very simple Maya export that'll put, any one of these models out in Maya.
So, if I might ask, what did you put in the bin for Spore 2? Sorry to ask that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that, obviously when you're dealing with a game about the universe, you can put a lot into it. As I was mentioning about, we want to release the creature editor first, and then Spore the PC game. We're actually looking at a lot of other ways that we can take these tools, the leverage from these tools off into totally different directions. We have one of those 3D printers in our office, which are colored now, by the way, that print out 3D color models. And now we can export anything from the game and just print it out. So we have all these little printouts of creatures and vehicles and whatnot. That's a really cool direction. Obviously we can do things like trading cards. There's just a lot of different directions that this could go to where it's not just a PC game, but it's kind of more, in game terms, a franchise. But I would like to imagine something that's kind of like Pokemon, but an educational franchise, where, kids are kind of more connected to real issues, science, stuff like that. I'd say there are kind of directions we can expand this kind of in the PC space, like Spore 2.0 on the PC. I can think of a lot of things that I would want to add to it. But Spore as a franchise, in terms of what are the other ways in which this can become kind of an identity or brand that, is a kind of a fun take on the universe and evolution and biology. I think that probably interests me more than, what Spore 2.0 the PC game is going to become. I'm more interested in how to get it out of the box into the world. Sure, over here.
Is there a sort of online aspect where the players will have an online presence to display their creations? And is there a sense of like a competitive accomplishment where if you're more successful creating the civilizations and planets, that will be a competitive element in this?
We have on our website, yes, we will actually be showing things like popularity of the content. And you'll also get reports back, and people can also write directly back, to the guest book system. Every card, every piece of content you make gets a card in the game, which is what this browser is showing. And anybody can open that card and then comment back to you. In general, in terms of the competitive, kind of ranking or how these things kind of stack up against each other, I'm kind of more interested actually in that as a competitive endeavor. I mean, not competitive, as a creative endeavor. I'd rather people be competing on creativity and narrative and storytelling. There's some other things in here when you're like doing the creature editor or any part of the game. I can actually open the recorder and start making a little movie. So over here on the